What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, America? Welcome to Kevin's Corner. And you know, wherever I am, that's where Kevin Corner is, which is in my car right now. Try to make some sense out of nonsense. I made a video about Colin Kaepernick and how people are getting on the bandwagon, and for whatever reason, they're all kneeling instead of standing up for the national anthem. And I am all for a good cause. If I can identify some type of oppression for whomever, white, black, Puerto Rican, Eskimoan, I don't care. I'm going, if it's injustice, something needs to be done. But to actually have some type of progress, to actually be able to address a certain oppression, you have to be able to identify your oppressors. You can't just throw a blanket statement and say America. You can't just say, you know what, the system or the man. I hear a lot of brothers say stuff like that, especially growing up in a black neighborhood. Man, the man ain't letting me get nothing. And I'm going, who is the man? So what I'm saying is this. When he decided to make that statement, and now a lot of people are running to his defense and they jumping on the bandwagon with the protests. And I'm saying, I don't even know if he thought that through. I think he just got emotional after watching stuff that was on TV. And of course, we know with our liberal media and the left, they will inflate and exaggerate any situation that is potentially controversial when it comes to race, so that they can further continue their race baiting and their identity politics. So when America is flooded with all of these situations that come up, and sometimes they're isolated incidents, or we don't even have all of the information about it. But when the media jumps on board and blows it up as if this is a national epidemic, to where America is divided right down the middle, black, white, and all of the quote unquote white people, or they don't even identify who. They would have, if we're not careful, a lot of African Americans might think that just straight white people are the ones that are oppressing or treating black people improperly. Or they would just blankly think it's the government or it is the police. And when you decide to protest and you throw out a blanket comment like America or the government or the police, show me which police officers, which police department, show me which city. Because a lot of the crimes that took place or situations that took place against some of the African Americans happened in democratic areas that was ran by a lot of African Americans, police chiefs that were black, police officers that were black, and yet for whatever reason, it comes across as if this was all motivated by race and oppression towards black people. Now, I frankly think, yes, we have room to grow when it comes to race relations in America, but considering an era where it was so frequent and so violent and so obvious, to where when they protest, it was life or death. It was happening and embraced by the masses when it came to racism, lynching, and segregation. The masses embraced it. Right now, in America, you can't convince me that the masses is saying we want to see black people killed, hurt, destroyed, because in our mind, it is 1902 and they should be in the place that they should be in. Now, is that to say that there are no white people or governmental people that are racist, or businesses that might be racist, or cops that might be racist? I'm not saying that. But to present it as it is such an epidemic to where I feel I need to kneel down and boycott the national anthem, I don't know if that's a wise approach, for the simple fact that, one, once you get done doing that and somebody sticks a microphone in your face and says, why did you do it? And you say, I just wanted to bring awareness of the treatment of black people in America, and I don't think America is treating black people the right way. Yet you're a millionaire making money playing for a professional football team. Not to say you can't care about your people, because I will never get so rich and powerful where I'll be like, man, forget the rest of the people. But when you say America and you boycott something that a lot of Americans have died for, and I'm not talking about the ones that you probably think or assume are behind all of the racism and the violence. I'm talking about black, white, Latino, Puerto Rican, all types of people. When they look at the flag, they're going, man, I see something that I signed on the line and it said, I'm willing to die for this. And yet you are boycotting the flag. The flag didn't do anything to you, but the flag is a symbol of the United States and how we all should try to work towards getting better. Now, if you say this guy or that organization or this company and you identify your oppressor, then I might rally behind you and say, let's go get them. But when you just say America, now what you're doing is creating a false image in a lot of people's mind that may not be accurate. In fact, it isn't accurate. So this whole thing that has snowballed and gotten out of hand, and I'm saying, okay, first things first, when it comes to this, you make these protests and you're not considering the fallout. You have the right, as anybody, to decide whether you're going to protest something or not. And you have the right to decide when you're going to do it. He chose to do it on the job. And it wasn't that he would have access to all of that attention if the NFL did not have him playing on their team. So he was benefiting off of his popularity, off of the venue that they provided, and to do something like that on the job, and you're not a solo artist. You ain't Tiger Woods where you're not obligated to somebody or something greater than yourself. But you decide to do that, the NFL has to consider how many people you have offended and how would this affect ticket sales. You can't sit back and expect there to be no fallout. So even though you have the right to decide to do that, you also have to be man enough to understand there can be consequences that follow that. And don't expect all of America to just jump on the bandwagon and say, yeah, I support the fact that you just offended millions and millions of soldiers, military people, police officers, firefighters that put their life on the line for the flag. And because you say America don't treat black people fairly and didn't identify anybody, now I'm supposed to embrace that? And if the NFL, which when you look at how things are nowadays, companies respond based off of not what they really believe, but how they feel or interpret that it will affect their revenue, the perception. So now you have to contend with the fact that NFL got to go, whoa, let's hold up now. By you doing this, you might have a group of minorities or people that are leftists that might say, right on, go get them, Tiger. But then you got a large majority of conservatives or just people who believe in America that is watching this and they going, that's some bull crap. I mean, if you want to point out somebody in particular, let's deal with that. But to just say the flag and what it represents as America is so offensive that I'm gonna sit down on it. What about all of the fan base in the NFL that doesn't see it that way? They say, man, I bled or I died or I lost a leg for that flag. And you just gonna sit down and kneel on it, and yet I lost that leg so you can sit down on the flag. I lost the leg so that you can make your millions throwing a football down the field. And so if I'm an NFL owner, I'm looking at all of that. I'm going, man, this could backfire. If I keep him, I might isolate half of my audience. If I don't keep him, then I'm gonna get a portion of course, the media love that type of stuff, but I might get a portion of people who say, you know what? I'm so upset about this that y'all aren't picking Kaepernick up that I'm going to black out the NFL. So he caused this big stir, and then when Donald Trump says what he said, everybody's flipping out as if what he was saying was simply focused on race. When he talks about the fallout and the way he see what's being done. It's not being done from the perspective of black people to sit down and shut up. What I believe he's doing is saying, look, it ain't about black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever. It's about honoring America, honoring the sacrifices of people who died for your freedoms. And when you disrespect that, it's almost like, if you don't like the country that much, get out of there. You benefiting off of the money and the ticket sales that everybody's coming to spend. We don't want to see all of that stuff go on the field. Keep that stuff in a private setting or do it on your own time. But when you choose to use somebody else's platform that you know could offend millions of people who's buying your tickets, putting money in your pocket, you can't expect there to not be some type of fallout. And so when Donald Trump talks about get those son of a bees out of here, basically what he's saying is, if you are bold enough to just sit down on patriotism or the United States or the flag which represents the United States, if you feel that things are so bad in America, yet you benefit off of all of the luxuries that are provided to you from the sacrifices of millions of people who've been in our military and things like that, just go somewhere else. Leave. Because what you're doing right now, and frankly, if it wasn't from the media trying to paint Donald, if it wasn't so popular to just paint Donald Trump as a monster, I guarantee you a lot of these NFL coaches that locked arms with their players today and this and that, they'd be like, man, I'm not getting involved with that, because you should stand up during the national anthem. However, because of all the media attention and them painting Donald Trump's comments as divisive and hateful and bigotry and all of that stuff, then the owners are going, uh-oh, I got to act like I support being politically correct. I don't want this to backfire. Come on, everybody. Let's show we all are supporting each other and we're offended by the words of Trump. And frankly, I got a gut feeling a lot of them are like, this is stupid. It's a distraction. It's a waste of time. Stand your butt up. We pay you too much money to come out here and create all of this controversy and split our audience down the middle by offending millions that say, dude, what are you doing? This is the flag, man. And then on the other end, you got people saying, man, I feel you, man. I'm oppressed and black people. And that's cool if you feel that way. Just do it on your own time. And so just like you had the right to express your opinion about the United States, Donald Trump had the right to express how he feels it should be handled. Because it's not going to be until America looks at the country as Americans and we deal with situations that pop up that we feel are unjust case by case, instead of just creating this blanketed narrative that all of America is so riddled with racism and oppression that we can't heal, we can't jail, we can't come together and have conversations. We can't actually examine situations that take place and use reasoning, logic, data, investigation, all of that stuff. We have to immediately assume the worst. We have to immediately assume this all is stimulated based off of this narrative that everybody or every minority or every group is oppressed and they're attacked and all of this stuff. And so, yes, when you continually push that narrative and flood our population with those cases that come up and you really don't give all the details and you only put out what you want to put out, you don't retract certain things, you don't really reveal all of the data, yes, you can create a perception that people are breaking into houses, dragging black people out of their houses right now and hanging them and burning them and beating them and all of these things that will create people to have this false need to say, we got to protest, but yet don't have any demands, don't have no ability to identify who or what they're protesting, just an idea. And not only that, don't have a demand or a solution. I'm mad and I'm protesting. So what, now what? You get out there, you protest, and they say, what do you want to see happen? And how will you measure? What can we do to make you feel satisfied enough with America to where you would say, now I feel proud to stand up and salute the flag? I dare to believe that there's nothing that could be done. Because guess what? As long as we're human beings in America, there are going to be cases that pop up that sometimes might appear to be racist or could be motivated by race. Sometimes it could be because of the flaws in humanity. And yet, if we immediately just focus on those cases and say, see, America is this way, you will always be chasing your tail. You'll always be finding fault and saying, this is why I need to kneel down. And if it is not so rampant, and if it is not something that is embraced by a whole group of people, if all white Americans felt that we should whip, beat, keep black people from voting, we should do whatever we can to oppress them. Yes, but I don't think it's like that right now. I think we have situations that come up that might piss off a lot of people, black, white, or whatever. But as a whole, when you say America treats us so badly right now that I'm going to sit down on the flag, that is overkill. And you are attacking a symbol that really is off target from the people you trying to address and get their attention. You're not just dealing with whom you might believe in your mind are the oppressors, the people in government, the people that have all the money. You are now offending the average person that's in Iraq, the person that was in Vietnam, the person who was in World War I, World War II, the people who ran into the 9/11 buildings. So for you to make that choice on your job and you suffer backlash, as a grown man, you made that choice. Don't expect it not to be consequences, and don't expect everybody's supposed to go, yes, yes, I believe that. When some other guy says, every time that flag raises and I put my hand over my heart, I'm remembering all of my friends who died and I left overseas somewhere. That's what they're thinking. So that's all of this protesting and stuff like that for the flag is for the birds for me. And I'm gonna tell you, trust me, as an African American, as a black man, if I did identify or see something and I say, man, that right there is so racist and so rampant and that's going on, we need to protest, I would. But in this case, I'm going, what are we mad at? Who, just America? I don't understand. What does that mean? Show me. Take me to the person or persons that are behind the curtain that is motivating all of this oppression that you're saying is happening. But until you can do that, then you just making people mad for nothing. Making people lose their loyalty towards the country for an idea or belief that you just throw out and say, this is how I feel, because of certain things that pop up on the, and CNN run it for a week. And all of a sudden now, all of America is thrown into this big blanketed idea or reason that we need to just protest. So Donald Trump, yeah, he has a way of saying things that pops up in his head, and sometimes he might need to explain a little better for those that are looking to race bait, because he was talking about patriotism and loyalty to your country. And it's offensive when you say bunk all of that, but yet you benefit off of what America provides. He was not talking about the fact that just because Colin Kaepernick is a black man who said black people are being mistreated, that is why I feel that this is stupid, you know, and because black people don't have the right to say they're upset about stuff. So yes, Donald Trump says some stuff, and quiet as kept, he says the things that a lot of Americans are going, man, I feel the same way. The difference is he's the president, and he's a president that the media lost the election to, and that the Democrats lost the election to, and he's candid and he's crass and he says what's on his mind, and they're always looking for some reason to go, oh man, I can't believe he said this. This is obviously motivated by race. And I'm going, as an African American, I'm going, well, stand up, show some type. I can't sit down on my job and offend everyone there if they say, hey, on my time, this is what we need to do, and anything you do can hurt business or turn off customers or mess up productivity. I have to be accountable to that stuff. So did he. And if you choose to make those choices, you also have to deal with the consequences. So that's my take on it. Love it or like it or not. Anyway, once again, Kevin's Corner. Check out the links below. Check out my t-shirt store, because I'm sure YouTube probably will demonetize this video as well. So support if you like what I'm doing. And I just had to say something about it because I was watching the NFL today, and they were showing all the guys, you know, and I'm a former football player myself, and there wasn't a time that I felt like I should sit down on the flag. And, you know, I just think it's disrespectful, not to just all of America, but to the people who that flag means a lot more to them than it do to you as a football player who never served, never signed up, probably wouldn't fight for the country, and yet you going, whatever, America ain't never done nothing for me. That right there is irresponsible, I think, and reckless. That's just my opinion. Anyway, all right, holla back.